Hello, my name is Gabriel of Urantia, Spirituolution, Justice to the People.
And my name is Neon Emerson Chase.
According to the Urantia book, there are trillions of inhabited worlds and multiple hundreds of thousands of universes. We're not going to give exact numbers because somebody would just steal the information and they'll be on the George Noory show or Art Bell claiming the information as their own. Many people on these shows and other sensationalized radio talk shows or TV shows who talk about the UFOs are actually MFLs, media's favorite liars. I use this kind of language to show BM, Bill Maher, who's also an IBSDLA, intelligent but spiritually dead, likable antagonist, and who I actually like and watch all of his shows. I like him to know that you can be spiritual and not self-righteous, and you can believe in God and not be a complete AH. I'm sure you know what that is. And by the way, Bill, we are 2 of the 27% who believe in the return of Jesus to this planet. It's unfortunate that you so easily throw out the Creator with all of the religious nonsense. Don't blame you for that nonsense, for being mad at that nonsense, for being angry at that nonsense. But you so easily equate God with the fanatical religious fundamentalist and religion. You would be interested to know, Bill, that the 5th epic of Revelation, or the beginning 1/10 of it, the Urantia book, teaches that Joseph actually had sex with Mary and had a baby, Jesus, and he still was the divine Son of God. He also did not come to die for the sins of the world. He came to teach the fatherhood of God and the brother-sisterhood of humankind. It was the religious hypocrites who, you so rightfully point out, Bill, that crucified him. I suggest, Bill, besides reading all that political literature you read, you might want to read the last section called The Jesus Papers in the Urantia book. You would discover the real Jesus was what you would think he should be. Other MFLs, NBC, CBS, ABC, FOX, HBO, CNN, the CIA, FBI, KGB, MPS, or SY, Scotland Yard, all say that UFOs are not real. That's because they don't want the masses to think that there's any military power or technological power greater than their military. The corporate SOBs, sold-out broadcasters, look real respectable on television. Most of them are actually deceived by the MMs, the media moguls, who really don't care about the suffering of the poor and, of course, the third world countries. They just care about profit because they are in league with the real PEs, power elites, also called the 1%. And there are the ASSs, altogether sensationalized stories that are told to the masses by the SOBs, mostly to the middle class, who are comfortable enough in their lifestyles that they don't want to make any real changes in their lives. They are also known as the AIs, apathyites. That's another word I've invented. And so the powers that be, the PEs, use the SOBs, who are all speaking and teaching the propaganda of BS in the media every day by the MFL celebrities and supposed paranormal experts who come off as respectable, along with the SOBs who interview them, but who are really hired puppets of the MMs. On the internet and on these paranormal radio talk shows are many SCs, space cadets, who get tremendous PR, phony respect, by the sensationalized broadcasters who are the SOBs. And if you forget who, they sell survival equipment, gold bars, coins, and protection against the alien reptiles who are going to take over humankind. And then there are those so-called UFO experts who believe that extraterrestrials who come hundreds of thousands of light years away in spacecraft beyond our imagination actually slaughter cows and dissect them. They are also called MFLs interviewed by the SOBs. Why don't the ETs dissect horses? Why not zebras? Why not giraffes? Why not gorillas? Why mostly cows? Just because extraterrestrials like beefsteaks? Why would these high technological beings pick on those poor cows? I think it would be more credible to say that yes, this might be happening by some human experimenters trying to discover some better surgical apparendi, or for some other human experimentation, either by the military or even Monsanto, who may be trying to find new ways to grow genetically modified cows. Of course, this is all BS by MFLs as presented by the SOBs. But millions and millions of people will pay huge ticket prices to go hear these MFLs speak, therefore creating more BS all the time on the TVs. Now I hope I've piqued your interest enough to get serious. So here goes. We are going to teach from the position of the Urantia book and the Cosmic Family volumes, which is called the fifth and continuing fifth epical revelation to humankind.
According to the Urantia book, the Creator is actually called the Universal Father by the majority of trillions of higher worlds of time and space. The Universal Father is a deity, a divine person who bestows personality to his free will creatures. The Creator is not just a force or an energy or a spirit. The Creator, the Universal Father, is a personality. In the Lucifer rebellion 200,000 years ago, Lucifer denied that there is a Creator or a Universal Father, or that the Universal Father is a personality. This lie continues to this day, mostly in the New Age teachings, which are not New Age at all, but go back 200,000 years to the Lucifer rebellion. The only thing new is the new generations to speak the same lies passed down by deceivers. The Creator, or Universal Father, created all things, all matter, all celestial beings, all mortals. A lot of the false teachings today say that the extraterrestrials, the ETs, seeded humankind. This is not true on this planet or any other. Life is seeded by celestial beings called life carriers and master physical controllers, not by evolutionary mortals on every planet in time and space. All humans are mortal, but not all mortals are human. Through the process of evolution, mortals eventualize, and they are all bipeds with hands, legs, and feet, and walking upright. On other evolutionary worlds, some mortals eventuate from birds, some from fish, and some from reptiles, as well as many other life forms. On this planet, humans eventuated from lemurs that had evolved into ape-like primates.
When the Lucifer rebellion occurred 200,000 years ago, Michael of Nebadon, who is known on this world as Jesus Christ, because his bestowal on this world stopped all interplanetary travel from other planets to Earth Urantia. There are millions of angelic beings, not just one archangel called Michael, who all want to be named after their creator, Christ Michael, who is the creator's son of our local universe called Nebadon. And Michael is a paradise origin being, meaning that he was created by two aspects of the Trinity, the universal Father and the eternal Son, as a Michael son, or a creator son, to go out into time and space as an existential God and create his own universe with the help of his complement, the Universe Mother Spirit, who is an offshoot of the third person of the Trinity, the Infinite Spirit. UFOs have been seen in the skies from one time or another in the last 200,000 years. As even the Old Testament of the Bible indicates, at least 8,000 years ago. But they have not been allowed to land. The intensified adjudication of the bright and morning star versus Lucifer began in approximately 1911, and more UFOs since then have been seen. The adjudication has accelerated in various upsteppings, starting with an upstepping in 1946, when more UFOs began to be seen in the skies. Another upstepping was in 1989, and another on December 21st, 2012. There has been a crash of a UFO, which was a spacecraft that had star students from another solar system or universe. They allowed themselves to get too close to the Earth's negative dial energy thought fields. But no extraterrestrial spacecraft is allowed to land, as this is not permitted by the Creator's Son of Nebadon, Jesus Christ Michael. No extraterrestrial beings or mortals from other worlds have directly communicated with humankind. Great minds like Albert Einstein and Nikola Tesla received their insights from the Creator, not from the created, and to some degree they each acknowledge that. Lucifer likes to make God's created beings, mostly himself, more powerful than the Creator. He even taught that we are all gods, a teaching prevalent in many New Age teachings today. Self-assertion and unbridled liberty are two of the main premises of the Lucifer rebellion. Basically, it's called do your own thing, or I'll do it my way, as opposed to God's way.
I conjecture that less than 100 people on the whole earth live in the perfect will of God moment to moment. That's why we live in a fallen world of pain, suffering, injustices, and death, because too many decisions are made out of God's perfect will and His pattern of love, wisdom, and justice.
Lucifer's tactics have always been to divide and conquer. So he started dividing families 200,000 years ago. Wives from husbands, sons and daughters from fathers and mothers, brothers from brothers, sisters from sisters. And Lucifer did this by distorting concepts, lies, creating false concepts about the truths of God that are called absolutes.
Now, 200,000 years later, very few people want absolutes in their lives. They want just relativity. Although relativity comes into reality in our everyday lives, called circumstantial reality, the inhabited grand universe exists and is held together by absolutes, not by relativity. Absolute spiritual laws and absolute cosmic scientific facts. Fundamentalists in all religions, or people on the far right politically, become too absolute in their moral and theological interpretations of God. And New Agers, or people on the far left politically, become too liberal and relative and have very few absolutes. there is no balance. Very few human beings live in a balance between absoluteness and relativity, between right and wrong, between good and evil. Today, many people call evil good and good evil. After 200,000 years of this confusion, we have our present-day Earth that is self-destructing all around us in its environmental, sociological, and spiritual realms.
Only through revealed religion, which is also called the fifth and continuing fifth epical revelation, found in the Urantia book and the Cosmic Family volumes, will humankind come out of the divisions that separate us from the unity we should have in the Creator. Jesus came to teach the fatherhood of God and the brother-sisterhood of humankind. He did not come to be crucified on the cross for the sins of humankind. The Urantia book is a unifier. But Lucifer, who speaks to the minds of the greedy, who are the 1% in control of everybody else on the earth, does not want this information to get out there. So they have done everything in their power to discredit the Urantia book and the continuation of it, the Cosmic Family volumes, calling the Urantia book the Alien Bible, like it was written by alien mortals from other worlds and focuses on information about aliens. On the contrary, the Urantia book came through a sleeping mortal from a variety of higher celestial personalities, not extraterrestrial mortals, but celestial beings much higher than mortals from other worlds. I used to think that all the major television networks at one time came after me because of my songs and teachings about consumerism and the materialism of America. That may be part of the reason why, but now I realize that they mostly came after me because my public name is Gabriel of Urantia, and I represent the latest revealed epical revelation to humankind.
The 1% does not want the peoples of the planet to unify. They want the different religions to remain separated and conflicted. They want race bigotry. They want economic inequality. These ones of financial power want political divisions and even various forms of government because, behind the scenes, they know that they are in control over any government and any religion on the earth. They who have the most money control almost everything.
There have been people who came on these radio talk shows, supposedly experts in the Urantia book, but never once mentioned the God of the Urantia book and the Creator's Son of our local universe, Nebadon. That the Creator's Son, Jesus, Christ Michael, came to this planet to teach what the evolutionary races had long forgotten in the Lucifer rebellion, almost 200,000 years before, the fatherhood of God and the brother-sisterhood of humankind. 500,000 years ago, there was a great city called Dalmatia, which metaphysical teachers today call Atlantis, and it was ruled by a being who was a secondary Lenantadec's son, whose name is Caligastia, who was the planetary prince of the whole planet. This being fell to Lucifer's lies and became known as the devil or Satan. Lucifer was imprisoned soon after the rebellion, but Caligastia is allowed to deceive humankind as long as those humans choose their own way as opposed to God's way, the way of evil as opposed to the way of good, the way of selfishness or greed as opposed to the way of selfless giving. Caligastia rules the minds of the greedy and immoral because Jesus taught the truth that challenged their wrong doctrines. The religious leaders of his day had him crucified. These same Pharisees, false religious leaders, who are found in every religion today, many who are in bed with the media, would have any true spiritual teacher crucified or misrepresented by the media. Self-righteousness is very deceptive and has an outward form of spirituality. But the heart inside knows not the true God. So you will never hear true spiritual leaders allowed to speak on television, radio, or any media that would reach the masses today, because the 1% owns all of the communications on this planet, and the broadcasters are sold out to the fallen system. They trust only in their paychecks, not God. Thus, you will never hear the complete truth. You can turn on your satellite or cable or regular network television, and you can tune into dozens and dozens of Christian or other religious teaching their doctrines of man. But many of these doctrines are not the true laws, principles, statutes of God. The true teachings of God, the Father, would encourage people to come out of these religions that preach separation from each other, because we all on this planet can only be ascending sons and daughters of God. As long as we identify ourselves as being Christian, Hebrew, Hindu, Muslim, or Buddhist, we will continue warring with each other. People all over the planet today are crying out for true freedom, and they think it is freedom from political entrapments, but it is truly entrapments in their religions that they are blind to. Many of these millions have a faith in God, but they have allowed false teachings to be equated with God's truths.
Jesus never taught Christianity, and many of his first followers, even the apostles, put wrong words in his teachings. And by the end of the first century, the true teachings of Jesus were greatly distorted. The Urantia book teaches the ascension process for the majority of people on Urantia, Earth, who do not incarnate back to Urantia. They are new souls, first-time Urantians. The Cosmic Family volumes teach about starseed from other universes who do repersonalize back unto the earth until they are spiritually able to ascend to what is called the first mansion world. The whole last quarter of the Urantia book teaches the true teachings of Jesus Christ Michael. Presently on Urantia, there are more than 500 million starseed of 7 different orders. Here at the Global Community Communication Schools of Ascension Science and the Physics of Rebellion, we teach these revelatory concepts, concept upon concept and precept upon precept, in classes by qualified teachers, some who have doctorates in education, psychology, and medicine, with one instructor who has studied with the famous physicist Ilya Prigogine. Gabriel of Urantia had to study theoretical physics for several years in order to help bring through the continuing fifth epical revelation as an audio fusion material complement, and this process is also taught about in our schools. This has nothing to do with what is called channeling, which is a lower form of interdimensional and extraterrestrial communication. And that channeling was prevalent prior to 1989.
There is a concept in the Urantia book called Destiny Reservists. These are souls who, in potential, if they are new souls, are more destined by God as long as they continue to choose the higher will of God in their lives to accomplish special changes on the planet in many areas. There are also starseed souls, older souls, who are called cosmic destiny reservists, who also have special, specific destinies to meet and accomplish in their lives. The Bible calls these souls the 144,000 called out ones. What is happening now in divine administration is the beginning of that calling out. If you have gotten this far, that most likely means you have a spiritual thirst within you, and God put that within you. And you may be a destiny reservist in potential. All of these destiny reservists in potential are being called to divine administration, just like higher genetic evolutionary mortals were called to ancient Dalmatia, which was then the planetary headquarters of Earth. If you think that you may be called to be one of these destiny reservists of the Reserve Corps of Destiny, please make this a matter of prayer and call 520-603-9932 or email info@gccalliance.org for more information as to attend a Divine Administration seminar or come to visit our grounds at Avalon Organic Gardens and Eco Village in Tumacacori, Arizona as a resident visitor. We bid you farewell for now. Spirit Solution, justice to the people.
Wake up, America. They're changing the law their own way. They say good is evil and evil is good. The children grow up quite deceived.